Hi, my name is Richard Walsh. I grew up, born in Verde, Newfoundland and Labrador. I was born in the house that's over my shoulder here, the White House. In 1954 I was born, and of course lots of wonderful memories of Verde growing up there. 4 years ago I started a Facebook page actually, called Vintage Verde. I'm a little bit of a historian in regards to Verde. Over the years I've kept hundreds, maybe thousands of photos, videos, newspaper clippings, and I had them all. Some of the photos I would put up on my own personal Facebook page. Got to the point where I was kind of blocking up my own Facebook page. So my wife came up with the idea of saying, she said to me, why don't you start your own vintage page, like Vintage St. John's has a page. And she said, you can call it Vintage Verde. What you see behind me is not the Verde that I grew up with. It's not the Verde that many people have memories of. The old fish flakes and the fish stages, fish stores, punts, Rodneys, all the things that we grew up with have kind of disappeared. This is a kind of a new and very unique Verde. I've tried to capture and tried to present on Vintage the old history. The videos, of course, that are there show exactly the process of hauling a cod trap. For some people around the world, they have no idea what a cod trap was. My page gives you the opportunity to see not only the old Verde, but also to see the new Verde. We have the beautiful heritage house here to my right, and all the artifacts that are in that house, that goes back, takes you back in time. Pretty much all the homes here in Verde years ago, we always had quilts on our bed. People made their own things. They didn't throw out hardly anything. They kept it all. My dad used to keep stuff in his store, in his fish store over by our house on Walsh's Hill here, along with many other fishermen. They kept everything because they couldn't go to stores and buy what they wanted. They created things that weren't even invented to get them through the fishery. They were very, very crafty people, very, very talented, very, very intelligent people. And they did what they had to do and when they had to do it just to survive. The flakes that were here were engineering feats, I call them. Especially the old Blundon's Point stage out here, that to this day I don't know how it stood for all those years. My whole philosophy of the peace quilt, peace symbols, my peace tattoo, I think all this goes back to the late 60s, early 70s, when I was growing up here in Verde. Lots of bands on the go then. You had, of course, the Beatles, which was very important to me in my growing up here. Woodstock was on the go at the time. All those things attracted me to not just the peace sign, but attracted me to the movement of like peace, love, happiness. And I got kind of caught up in it. And where I've been playing in a band most of my life, I guess, here in Verde, our band, but we have a band, and our band's name, as obvious, now I'm going to tell you, is Peace. So we rocked out the different clubs here, in and around, up and down the shore, Old Perlican, Grates, Cove, Verde, all up and down the different shores. That's, I think, how I got involved and why the peace movement and the peace sign impressed me so much and why I love it so much, actually. I have lots of peace shirts and peace stuff and peace guitar. I have a peace guitar. I have all kinds of stuff associated with the peace sign. I had this idea of having a peace quilt. I had the quilt made in Verde. I contacted several people to see if they would be able to do it. Karen was the one who agreed to do it for me. I look at a quilt as a work of art, a piece of art. When you think of all this, the time, the cutting, the stitching, everything that's gone into this. It's just amazing when you look at it. And not just Karen's quilts. There are quilters here in Verde, amazing quilters. We have quilters right at Cove, we have quilters in Grates Cove, we have quilters in Northern Bay. Could be hanging somewhere to show off their talent, the stitching, the time. It's just incredible. So anyway, I wanted a quilt. This is our 5th Karen quilt, by the way. My girls ended up with one each. And then I had her do this one. And there's probably more on the way. But this quilt started out with just 3 pieces of fabric. That's all I had. I had 3 little pieces, and that was from my 2 dogs. They're scarves that they wore around their necks. And one of them is from Groomy when we had her groomed, and she came home with a musical themed quilt. And I kept all this. I think it goes back to my father's days and fishermen's days here when they didn't throw away anything, they kept it all. When I gathered up all the fabric, which took quite some time, by the way, I visited every fabric shop that I could visit in St. John's area. When I had it all put together, all the fabric that I thought I needed, my wife and I drove to Verde and we went into Karen's house here, and we sat down and I gave her I explained to her my vision of what I thought I wanted, and she delivered beyond my expectation. This was a quilt that I had the pleasure of being asked and entered into the Festival of Quilts that we had here in Verde, where all the quilts were displayed in different buildings throughout the town, halls and churches. Mine was displayed in one of the churches. I was so glad to be able to have the quilt ready and to be displayed. When the Quilt Festival was here in Verde last year, it was the first time they've had a festival like this. Very small budget, but a lot of helping hands. A lot of the quilters, they jumped right in and they wanted to display their quilts. And it was like I said, it was the first time. They were expecting, I think the committee might have been expecting, I don't know, 200, 300, 400, whatever. And it ended up, I think that there was over 1,000 people walking through the town, walking through the churches, walking through the halls. They just had a fantastic day. And I'm sure many of the people who came, but not all, but many of them were quilters themselves, coming to look at other people's work, because this was the first time that such a large body of quilts were displayed. This is only going to grow because quilting is here to stay. The quilters are ready and willing to quilt. They're not going to stop. The festival is not going to stop, and hopefully it'll grow over the next few years. We'll have more festivals, we'll have more quilts, more designs, more people, and what a great idea.
On moonlit nights or on stormy seas, on the land or far from shore, as my fingers play these notes and the memories draw the tears, I think of all my family and the passing of the years. I think of all my family and the passing of the years.